we're going to bring up Representative Sarah Keitt.
Thank you. Can you all hear me? Am I close enough to the mic there? Yeah? Okay. Thank you all for being here. We were just here about a week ago celebrating the Olmsted, the passing of the Olmsted decision by the Supreme Court, which is currently under threat, as you all know. For those of you who don't know me, I represent the 134th District, which is parts of Fairfield and Trumbull. I'm running for my third term. When I first ran for office, I was not in this chair. Over the last 10 months, my MS has progressed to the point where I need this to get around if I'm going farther than 20 yards. At the end of session last year, I really found out how inaccessible this building is. I got locked in the lift when I'm trying to get into the chamber to vote. I got locked out of security doors because it didn't recognize my mobility device. They did replace the ramp of death, and I will make sure it stays replaced. But there is so much more to do. I can't get into our caucus room because there are stairs. Getting to leadership offices. These are all places, well, not the caucus room, but leadership offices, the governor's office, lieutenant governor's office. Those are all places every one of you is entitled to visit. And I won't even get started about the fact that there's no way for anybody in a wheelchair to get up to the visitor galleries to watch the proceedings. I almost didn't run for re-election because I was so disheartened by having to come to a building every day that says, you don't belong here. But then I said, if I don't run again and I'm not there, who's going to change it for every single one of you who wants to be part of this? It's the people's building. So with Mike D'Amico's help and a lot of pushing and a lot of noise, we're going to do our best to make these buildings accessible for all of you. It's not going to happen fast. It's not going to be cheap, but it needs to be done. Number 2 on my agenda is making sure that our state stays true to the Olmsted decision, that we can stay in our homes, we can receive higher quality, safer, more dignified care in our homes as long as we want to. We need to have more support for home modifications, for mobility devices, for home health aides, for translators. I've worked with the amputee community to make sure insurance is covering proper prosthetics. There is no excuse for keeping us as second-class citizens. And every one of you here with a disability or a loved one with disability, if you can, I encourage you to run for office, whether it's the state, federal, local level, get on your boards of commissions. Because we heard this before, nothing about us without us. But people don't understand until it's in their face every single day. Nobody thought about, oh my gosh, how is somebody with a disability going to get into the chamber, into their seats, and to be able to vote? So I'm hoping my presence here will make a difference. And I encourage each and every one of you to talk to your legislators, your state senate, your state representative, your federal delegation. Make sure they know about the issues you're facing, because we won't go back. We will not tolerate being second-class citizens. My first thing I did when I moved to Connecticut 10 years ago, we had an election coming up, and I went down to my registrar of voters to make sure my polling place was accessible. At the time, I was not having any mobility issues, so it wasn't an issue for me. But I went with him to our polling place. The signage was wrong. There were stairs to get into one part of the building, but there was no signage as to where the ADA accessible entry was. They fixed it, but it kept coming up at this one location. Every election, they didn't have the signs. I was watching seniors in the rain in walkers and canes walking excessively far because there's no signage for the accessible parking, for the accessible entrance, or where they could get the ballots taken to their cars during COVID. So it's on all of us. Go down to your register of voters, make sure go to the polling places with them and point out what is missing. Because what people think is accessible isn't. Like the bathrooms here, like the polling place. Oh, there's a ramp, but if there's no signage, what does that mean? I'm working on the signage for the Capitol, because if any of you have gone through the through the tunnels to the elevators, you don't know where you're going. If you go up the wrong elevator to the second floor, you could be on the wrong side of the building to get where you need to go, because you can't go from one end of the building to the other on the second floor. So we are working on that. But I encourage each and every one of you to reach out to me, reach out to Mike D'Amico, Representative D'Amico, and let us know what you need, because we are here to fight for you. I've been not the best ally in the past, because even though I've been living with MS for 20 years, 26 years, it hits differently when you're in the chair. It hits differently when you cannot live your life like everybody else. So now I'm proud to say I'm not an ally, I'm one of you. And I'm facing the same challenges as many of you. I have a little bit more privilege because I'm in elected office, because I'm financially secure right now, but all of that can change in a minute. And we will not have fulfilled the promise of the ADA until we have full access everywhere, until people aren't having to get divorces of convenience to be able to qualify for services and support. We are not a democracy until every child in this state can receive a fair, high-quality education in their community. So with your help, with your advocacy and your spirit, we will get there. It's going to be hard work. I would hate to think we have to have another Capitol crawl, but if that's what it takes, that's what we're going to do. And I'm here for all of it, and I want to thank all of you for coming out and navigating this building and the challenges. I know how challenging it is to get here, so thank you all.